West Liberty by 39. 123-84 is the count here. West Liberty, the best scoring offense in the nation. That average will go up. They're averaging 110 points a game right now to lead the country. Should be a little above that after today's game. Hearn, wide open, left corner, three-pointer. Comes up long, and now loose ball is grabbed by Josh Brown. Brown gets it ahead of the pack to Anthony Capuano, who lays it in, and that gets a nice rise out of the Urbana fans who are here. Capuano with a right-handed layup, and he's fouled, so he'll head to the line to shoot one. His first points of the game, of the season rather. Capuano had only played in 1 minute all year in that one game he was in previously. Now he has 3 points as he hits the free throw as well. 123-89. West Liberty by 34. Under 3 minutes remaining. Wetzel with the ball, right wing, hands off to Goodwin. Goodwin inside to Wetzel. Wetzel hit hard on the arm by Zach Stillings, a redshirt freshman from Urbana, so he's playing in front of his hometown crowd here. In a couple of senses of the word, he went to Urbana High School. The crowd is arguing that it was all ball, but truthfully, it was actually closer to all arm. I don't know that he got any of the ball there. West Liberty keeps it, though, inbounded from the baseline. Goodwin has it now. He'll drive baseline. Right side, gets to the rim, and he's fouled. They go against Capuano. 2:38 remaining. West Liberty by 34. Goodwin at the line. 13 points so far today. Go ahead and make it 14. He hits the free throw. Leading scorer, Cedric Harris with 22. He also had 6 rebounds. Seeger Bonifant, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. C.J. Hester with that double-double, 16 and 12 rebounds. Goodwin hits the second, so he's up to 14 in the game, and it's a 36-point Hilltopper lead. Josh Brown will bring the ball up for Urbana. Tries to get it to Goins. The pass is stolen by Goodwin. Goodwin now one-on-one against Goins. Nice athletic finish at the rim for Goodwin, and he's up to 18 points now, and he pushes the lead to 38 for the Hilltoppers. 10-second count here. Urbana having a little trouble getting the ball up. West Liberty still applying some pressure with Goodwin and Units in the backcourt, and Urbana couldn't quite get it across in 10. So West Liberty will get it on the turnover. That's 18 turnovers now by Urbana, only 8 committed today by West Liberty. Wetzel lines up for 3, and this one's off the left side of the rim. As he and Units, the 2 players that have not hit a three-pointer yet for West Liberty, each have attempted 1 so far. Units will commit a foul here against Danny Goins. Goins with 28 points, so he heads to the line, a chance to hit 30 in the game. He's 9 for 10 at the free throw line today. Bounced in, thought it was falling through. Instead it popped out at the last second. So Goins now with 1 more attempt. And he makes that one with 1:47 remaining. 127-90. West Liberty by 37. Goodwin with the basketball. Gets it to Units. Units right wing. Takes 2 dribbles. Now right back to Goodwin. Goodwin lines up a 3. In and out. Capuano with the rebound. Now the ball's poked away by Hearn. Hearn picks it up. Leaves it for Wetzel. Wetzel lays it in. So Wetzel into the scoring column. And it's a 39-point Hilltopper lead. Final minute 20 remaining. Here's Capuano, left wing, 3-pointer, no good. Dorcius, offensive rebound, goes up and he's fouled by Lamberti, and he gets the shot to fall. $129-92 the score, as Dorcius will have a free throw coming up for Urbana with 1 minute and 12 seconds remaining. Dorcius hits the free throw. Jim Crutchfield looking on calmly from the bench, wearing those sneakers. Again, it's the Coaches versus Cancer weekend here with suits and sneakers, as all the coaches wearing sneakers with their suits. And a good look and certainly a good cause in this one as Lamberti is fouled by Dorcius. Lamberti will head to the line. 129-93 with 1:01 remaining. Lamberti knocks down the first. 5 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds for Lamberti. The 5 assists, a new career high. As a team, we'll check that in just a second as Lamberti hits the second one, but you have to figure West Liberty has an absurd amount of assists. Near turnover by Capuano, but the ball grazed off of Eunice's foot. So it remains with Urbana. Final minute of play, and indeed, West Liberty has 35 assists in this game compared to only 8 turnovers. Better than 4-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. Eunice tries to draw a charge, and the ball ends up hitting off of Eunice's foot along the sideline. No, so it'll be Urbana basketball still on the sideline. 56 seconds remaining now to get it into Goins. Goins brings it ahead. Goins, left wing, three-pointer, no good. Long rebound grab by Wetzel. He gives it to Eunice. Eunice leading the charge. Eunice gives it to Hearn, left wing. Now down to the corner to Lamberti. Lamberti trying to drive baseline, and he's bumped. There's only 7 fouls on Urbana, so it'll be a 1-and-1 situation coming up for Lamberti. Foul goes against Capuano. In terms of the assist-to-turnover ratio, how about Sean Dyer? 8 assists, only 1 turnover today. Good numbers from him as Lamberti hits the front end of the 1-and-1. Cedric Harris, 4 assists, no turnover. Mentioned earlier, Cedric Harris, top 5 in the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio. His ratio is only going to improve today. 4 assists and no turnovers for the senior. Lamberti hits the second free throw. Final 30 seconds of action here. 40-point Hilltopper lead, 133-93. Missed shot down low by Zach Stillings. Wetzel has the rebound, gets it to Lamberti. Lamberti across the timeline. Shot clock turned off. West Liberty can run it out here if they want. So Lamberti back to Hearn. 10 seconds remaining. Hearn getting a little pressure from Goins, so Hearns dribbles away to break that. Now he leaves it for Goodwin. 3 seconds will tick off here, and that'll do it for the Grimes Center. 133-93, the final score. West Liberty by 40 points in a runaway, thanks to a school record 30 three-pointers. 30 for 55, the Hilltoppers finish from behind the arc. That's 54.5% from three-point range. As a team, West Liberty, for the entire game from the field, shoots 54.1%. They also were 79% from the free throw line. They out-rebound Urbana 41-36 in the game. They out-rebound Urbana by 5. They force Urbana to commit 11 more turnovers, 19-8. Urbana had 19 giveaways. And again, the assist-to-turnover ratio, West Liberty, 35 assists in this game, only 8 turnovers. They also had 7 blocks in the game. Zach Kirkbride had 3 blocks in the contest. So a solid game for him. He had 8 points and 3 blocks in only 12 minutes of action for Zach Kirkbride. Let's just go ahead and run down all the individual stats real quick, and then we'll send you along the rest of your Saturday. Just because everybody had such good games, might as well get everybody included here. From top to bottom as they read on our box score in front of us, so it won't be in numerical order necessarily. Seeger Bonifant, 21 points. He was one off the team lead. He also had 6 assists in the game to go along with 6 rebounds. So Seeger Bonifant, those 6 assists ties a career high for him. And he also had 21 points, including 6 three-pointers in the game. That also ties a career high for him. John Dyer, 13 points in only 19 minutes. He also had 8 assists in the game. So Dyer, 8 assists, only 1 turnover, and 13 points in 19 minutes. C.J. Hester, another double-double for him, 16 points and 12 rebounds. That was Hester's 4th double-double of the season, number 28 of his career. 16 points, 12 rebounds for the junior. Cedric Harris, 22 points and only 21 minutes of action. He also had 6 rebounds. We already mentioned 4 assists, not a single turnover. Cedric Harris, for the season, coming into this game, 3.5 assists for every 1 turnover, ranks 5th in the country. His ratio will go up. We'll wait to see if his ranking goes up as well after today's game of 4 assists, no turnovers. Cockburn, 10 points, 3 assists. Jeff Units played 9 minutes in the game. He had 1 assist and a rebound. He also blocked a shot. It was a big block that forced a jump ball. He did it pretty emphatically. The second he checked into the game, 9 minutes for Units in today's game. Devin Hearn hit 4 3-pointers. He finished with 16 points and 4 assists in 19 minutes. Torrin Wetzel had a basket. He also had a block shot and 3 rebounds. Mentioned Kirkbride, 8 points in this game, along with 3 blocks. So Kirkbride, his career high is actually 4 blocks against Cedarville earlier this year, but he had 3 in this game. Goodwin with 17 points, 3 assists, and Lamberti, 8 points, and a career high 5 assists. Again, a school record for West Liberty. They hit 30 three-pointers in the game. They shoot 54.5% from long distance, and they win by 40 points over Urbana. Our next broadcast for you will come your way live from the ASRC. We'll have video for you from the home game, 5:30. The women will tip off against Notre Dame College, and then at 7:30, the men's game will follow on WLU-TV, Comcast Cable Channel 14, or WLTVOnline.com. Thanks to everybody that made the production possible, especially Kirsty Kalani and Corey Klug back at Master Control, braving the elements to get there on a cold day on top of the hill on the West Liberty campus. And thanks to you for tuning in throughout these broadcasts. Hope you enjoyed them. Hope you can join us again on Thursday. Wishing you a great week ahead. Please stay warm and please stay safe. And don't travel anywhere you don't have to for the next couple days at least. Certainly hope you'll stay safe and be able to join us again on Thursday here on the West Liberty Sports Network. Kyle West here from the Grimes Center. Final score for the final time. West Liberty wins to move to 16-0 on the year, 133-93 over Urbana. Until Thursday, thanks for listening to the West Liberty Sports Network.
My name is Jesse Lenz, and I am an artist.
West Liberty University, welcome to your future.
Here's a look at your WLU-TV community calendar. Visit our community calendar online at WLTVOnline.com for more great events. West Liberty University Television, the Ohio Valley's only educational access television station.
Hello, welcome to this edition of Your Town. I'm your host, Jeff Kinnarum, Vice President for Community Engagement at West Liberty University. My guest today is Denny Magruder, Director of the Capitol Theater and West Banco Arena. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Baby, tell me, where'd you ever learn to fight without saying no word? Then walks back into my life like it's all gonna be alright. Don't you know how much it hurts when we don't talk, when we don't touch, when it doesn't feel like we're even in love? It matters to me when I don't know what to say, don't know what to do, don't know if it really even matters to you. How can I make you see it matters to me? When I don't know what to say, don't know what to do,
Your Town. It's my pleasure to introduce my guest today, Denny Magruder, director of the Capitol Theater and West Banco Arena, who incidentally is no stranger to the Hilltop. Denny, welcome.
Jeff, thank
Good
you.
to have you.
I love the opportunity to travel back up on the Hill. You know, I spent a few years here myself many years ago now, so it's always a pleasure.
We're an alumnus of West Liberty.
I am.
And that
Proud alumnus.
provided a good foundation for your career.
Jeff, no doubt about it. I mean, it was just a remarkable experience that prepares you for what's ahead.
What are your perceptions of what's going on in the Hilltop with
Well, Jeff, I
all
think
the
it's outstanding.
improvements?
I think what the current administration, including Jeff Knierim, have done up here is amazing. And I think the studio speaks to that as well. I sometimes just drive up here leisurely in the summer or sometimes in the evening with my wife just to marvel at the changes that have occurred between my days here and what it is now. And just hats off. I mean, we're so proud that West Liberty's done what they have. The programs are excellent, just the buildings, the facilities, the spirit here, the esprit de corps on campus. And thanks to all the students and the faculty, it's a first-rate organization.
Well, it's definitely a team effort, and we at West Liberty certainly appreciate the support we receive from the community and our alums. It's been gratifying to be part of transitioning a good college to a great university.
Absolutely.
So it's been fun.
Absolutely.
So, well, we have you for the whole show. So we're going to cover a lot. We're going to cover a lot of ground today, and we're probably going to go back and forth between the two venues. But let's just start with the Capitol Theater. When you look how that has transitioned from a closed venue to a class entertainment center in downtown Wheeling.
Well, Jeff, as we know, you know, the theater's a fabulous building. It was built in the age of the Grand Theaters. In 1928, that theater opened and operated continuously until the then owner, Live Nation, chose to close it in 2006. It laid empty for a few years, and then again, because of the efforts of the community, Jeff, lots of folks, lots of organizations in the community met, tried to figure out how to get that theater reopened, and they were able to achieve that goal. The community acquired that goal through the CVB in April of 2009. The theater was reopened then in September of 2009 and has undergone some tremendous transitions. One of the problems, you know, between April and September, there were 23 major fire codes that prevented us from opening the theater.
Yeah, that was the big stickler. You had to get past that.
All of those 23 fire code violations were cured within the first 6 months.
That's phenomenal, everything that you did.
A tribute to the community, though, Jeff, and a tribute to just the people that support the theater.
We actually had volunteers come in and help clean up. I remember talking to friends that attended that cleanup session, scraping gum off the bottom of theater seats and just helping out wherever they could.
As you know, when we opened the theater, it had been closed for more than 3 years and sat there dormant without appropriate heat and everything. So you can imagine the dust and everything, the mildew, the mold, the gum. And we put out a call to the public, and it was utterly amazing. There were 2 different days. One day there were more than 80 folks that came out. And the age range was 14 years old to 80 years old. And you know, it was then that we knew this theater was really going to be a success, because all you had to do was listen to the stories that people that were there volunteering were telling, what it meant to them.
Well, that time period from April 2009 to reopen in September 2009, that took a lot of work, and under your leadership, you got all that addressed.
Well, Jeff, I'm proud to say that I was a member of the team, and I hate to say it's under my leadership entirely. One of the great success stories, I think, of the theater is the synergy of the way it's operated. Our organization's the actual operator, the Sports and Entertainment Authority. We operate both the arena and the theater, as you said. But the actual owner is the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And WINAC, which is a historical preservation group downtown, have been tremendously involved. So it's a triumvirate, those 3 groups. We get together regular. That's how we come up with financing. That's how we come up with direction, projects, fundraising. It's just been a great synergy. And again, because of the support of the community, particularly Jeff, yourself, and the university and this program, it's been a tremendous success.
Now, some of the additions to address those fire codes was a fire escape, which I had an opportunity to tour the facility with you. That is quite a structure. People don't realize that can hold a herd of elephants. I mean, that steel structure, it's pretty incredible. But that was erected in that time frame between April and September.
But as you mentioned, Jeff, the fire stair tower that we call it.
Okay, it is a tower.
It's
yeah,
a tower.
Yeah,
It's a freestanding building of its own,
yeah.
attached to the backside of the theater, between the theater and the Holly building. And it's a freestanding building because on the riverfront, that building, that structure, had to be drilled to bedrock. And, you know, we spent $460,000 on that, and unfortunately, in one way, it's something we hope people never see, because it's there. Again, we have taken several groups out there and the media out there because it's a tremendous improvement to what was there. And the other thing is it provides exit from all 6 levels of the theater. A lot of people don't realize that, but there are 6
levels. Okay.
And we have a fire stair tower, an internal tower on the north side of the building that was appropriate and adequate. So we had to add the other tower. But you know, the other strange thing in this day and age is the building wasn't sprinkled. And to sprinkle the building, you've got to sprinkle every corner, the old bowling alley, the dressing rooms, the boiler room downstairs, the old swimming pool area, all had to be sprinkled. And that was done. Exit lighting, there was electrical issues. There were just a number of things that had to be done, and it was pretty major. But it all was pulled together and accomplished pretty quickly.
Spent a lot of money where people really couldn't see what you did, really, when you think about it.
Unfortunately, Jeff, you know, we paid $600,000 for the theater and then spent another $650,000 just to get it ready to open. So there were a lot of things the public couldn't see until this summer.
Yeah, this summer, yeah, that was the major improvement, new seating.
Well, in the past summer, Jeff, as you know, we've completely reseated the theater, both in the balcony and down to the orchestra level, all new seats. The seats are almost replicas of the original seats in 1928. They were manufactured by the exact same company that manufactured those 1928 seats, American Seating. That's been accomplished. The building has been carpeted throughout. There's new aisle lighting and emergency aisle lighting, much like you see on, if you get the spiel on an airplane about the aisle lighting, that now exists in the theater as well. There are new sound acoustical panels, fabrics on the wall, fireproof acoustic panels. We've refinished the stage. There are new stage curtains and curtains around the statues. And so there's a lot to be done, but we're pretty proud of what was accomplished this summer.
New sound system too, right?
Yeah, Jeff, about a year ago, last November, November of 12 actually, we put in a new sound system, and it's received rave reviews thus far. That sound takes care of many events. Obviously, there are some big shows that we always supplement sound. A lot of shows carry their own sound or require additional supplemental sound. But that new sound system's been in since November 2012, and we're very happy with it.
So what's on hand for additional improvements? It sounds like you just about have it finished.
Well, not really, Jeff. If you remember back in 2009 when we first talked about the theater and what needed to be done, we said the work won't be done in a year or 2 or even 10. And that's still true. There's a lot of projects on the horizon. Probably this summer. We have some grant money that Congressman Mollahan, quite frankly, before he left, Congress had set aside for us. And it's a Save America's Treasures grant, along with some money that we've acquired from the city through the TIF. That whole terracotta facade will be restored this summer. You know, that facade was installed in 1928. It's had literally no maintenance between 1928 and 2014. So that's going to be restored, patched, boned up. We've got the marquee that, don't know the exact timeline yet, but on the marquee, we want to restore it, put some new neon, make it as it was back in the day. You've been in the building and you know below decks, down where the old bowling alley used to be in the boiler room, there's a lot of work that needs done. There's some huge space that we think could be very appropriately used for what we call a black box theater. It could be a cafeteria dining area for buses. It could be the creation of a museum, a country western, because it used to be a country western theater, or maybe even a total wheeling museum.
So a lot on the horizon, a lot of possibilities. That's great. Well, hey, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with the second half of the show, and then we'll talk more about the Capitol and what some of the activities that are occurring, Broadway series and some other shows, and we'll also touch on West Bank Arena.
Thank you.
So, hey, thanks for watching. We'll be right back in a minute.
If I can reach the stars, pull one down for you, shining on my heart, so you could see the truth. I could change the world. I would be the sunlight in your universe. You would think my love was really something good, baby. If I could change the world, baby. If I could change the world.
Make a difference. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Well, thank you for watching Your Town. We're back, and we're going to continue our conversation with my guest, Denny Magruder. We touched upon the Capitol in the first segment, so let's flip gears and talk about WesBanco Arena, some of the improvements that have happened on 14th Street.
Well, I think first, Jeff, we'd say that the arena, most folks know, has been around for a while. It actually opened in 1977. There haven't been a lot of upgrades. There were some ADA, American Disability upgrades in 1994. And then in 2003, 2004, with the help of the city, there was a small bond issue. And we did some infrastructure things. We repaired the roof, put in new air conditioning, redid some of the restrooms and the locker rooms. But the city right now has indicated, Mayor McKenzie and City Manager Herron have both, I think, recognized the value of the arena as far as a community asset and a community property. And we've actually been meeting with architects to review and interview architects and select an architect for an upcoming bond issue the city hopes to float through some of the new sales tax monies. There's a whole laundry list of things that would be done. First and foremost, I think to restore the front of the venue. It's very 1977-ish out there. It's probably the worst looking part of our building right now. And so to literally tear off the front, redesign, restructure, modernize, open it up with some glass and lights so that there's a feeling to the public outside that there's life and activity inside. New seats. We need to address things like center hung scoreboards, finish out the rest of the restrooms, overhead doors, new floor coverings, upgrades in locker rooms. If funds prevent down the road or make it available, the addition of player lounges and other accommodations for some of our tenants that come in the back door. So there's a whole laundry list. We're working on it. That's going to develop over the next few months. And again, with a major help there from the city, it's just an exciting time.
Yeah, you just make those improvements, it makes it attractive. It's just the win-win for the city and our residents.
And we can retain the value of the arena. I mean, we're pretty proud that it's a 1977 building, I think maintained fairly well, but it's tired and it has that tired look, and it's time for us to reinvest and do that.
You know, we certainly have a lot of activities at WesBanco Arena. Of course, home of the Nailers, but you are very community-minded in programming. It's basically the home of the OVAC when you think about all the activities, high school activities, graduations, commencements that occur in the arena.
It is, Jeff, and I think that's been one of the objectives of the board for a long time. You know, look, both of these buildings, whether it's owned by the city or the CVB, they are community buildings, okay? And they want the community to be able to use those buildings. And so we have all kinds of activities. You're right, the OVAC. If folks come down, we actually have the OVAC Museum and the Hall of Fame there. Contained at the arena, there's a World Series ring, there's an Olympic gold medal. There are just so many artifacts from all the phenomenal athletes. And we're not talking about all of them didn't make it to the, quote, the pros, but they've left their mark, and they've left their mark on what happens with today. And so we recognize that. And I think, again, it's been the objective of the board to make sure that we reach out and house. The city has their Hall of Fame in there. The old, you remember the old Wheeling High School mural that used to hang in the high school that meant so much to so many people in this community. When that building was torn down, it had laid in a garage for 25, 30 years. And when that was found, it's been restored and resurrected in the arena and draws a lot of attention, quite frankly.
Well, it is a place where the community can meet, have events. The Wheeling Service Clubs have their weekly luncheons. at
We
West
do. We
Banco.
have 5 of the local civic clubs meet there on a regular basis, and that's wonderful for us to have that kind of, those folks coming into our building every week, walking in and out the front door, past our ticket offices. They know what's going on. They stay in touch. They carry the message of the facility out to the community.
Yeah, it's good to have those folks in that building constantly all week. You've got all kinds of
Absolutely.
traffic, people coming.
And I get to
going.
see you once a week, most of the time that way, Jeff.
Yeah,
which
on
is
my way to
really good.
my Rotary meeting, right?
Yes.
You know, you touched upon the OVAC Sports Museum. That is incredible. People really need to take the time. I mean, you need to take time. I mean, probably a couple hours.
You can't do it all in one day.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
suggest it. And the nice thing about this, Jeff, you don't really have to come and buy a ticket to an event to see the sports
Then you just
museum.
walk in.
Monday through Friday
yeah,
from
just-
9 to 4 o'clock. We're always open. It's the public's building. We're proud
Yeah, it's
of
public.
that.
It's free. It's a free
and they
attraction,
can come in
right?
and look and spend their time. And it is amazing how many people have wandered through. And sometimes we find some folks in tears. Tears of joy, tears of memory, remembering their high school days as they look at these exhibits.
I did a little, my show prep, looking at the amenities of West Banco Arena. The Sports Museum has over 150 cases
Yes, sir.
with
And I will tell
memorabilia.
you that those cases, again, are a product of the community. You know, we had a working relationship with the Carpenters local, and at the time, our very good friend Orphe Klempa was in that position. Orphe, of course, is now retired and is helping us again as a county commissioner. But through the efforts of their carpentry program there with their apprentices, all of those cases that were constructed were by the local Carpenters Union, by apprentices, at very little cost to the OVAC. And again, the OVAC has paid for all the materials in there, but I think you'll agree that it's museum quality. They line every nook and cranny of the building, and they have a lot of surprises. So I just
Oh, it
encourage
is,
our
it is.
listeners to
It's-
come in and take a peek.
And you
won't be disappointed.
You really don't have to be an avid sports fan
No.
to enjoy the displays.
No.
Just a lot of photos of folks who participated in athletics in our community that
Well, there's
people have
athletes
connections
there
to.
from the 30s, but there's athletes from 2012, 13, and 14 as well,
Yeah, constantly updated.
constantly.
Well, that's something that should be on everybody's list to check that out, West Banco.
Well, and I hope so, and I hope that the community, and I know he would be upset if he knew I was about to say this, but Tom Radisak, the current executive secretary, has just been an amazing man. And quite frankly, the museum was Tom's dream and was Tom's thought. And with the help of the committee, his board, the entire committee, the local media, it's become a booming success.
You know, looking at some of the athletic events, local athletic events, of course, we know that the arena is the home of the Nailers, but also high school hockey. We're going to have
Jeff,
some college hockey matches coming up.
Beside the Nailers, there are 13 other teams who call West Banco Arena their home ice. High school teams and travel teams. And yeah, Wheeling Jesuit and West Liberty University both play there as well. So
Again, it's a venue for the community.
it is.
So let's, I want to switch gears. We talked extensively about the Capitol and all the improvements, but what's going on with shows and events at the Capitol?
Well, shows and events at the Capitol coming up in the month of February. Some really great shows and I think pretty diverse. There's the Roots and Boots store, and that's for those of you that like older country music. It's Aaron Tippin,
Okay.
Joe Diffie, and Sammy Kershaw together
Okay.
on that Roots and Boots, and that's going to be on Valentine's Day. Quite frankly, that should be a great show. We've got another Broadway show coming up, the Broadway show Memphis.
Yeah, it's on. We got that on the screen. We got a little calendar, February
Great.
5th,
Well,
Memphis. Yeah.
Jim Brickman.
Yeah, Brickman, yeah.
For folks, and what a remarkable artist. Jim Brickman probably doesn't get all the publicity that he's due, but a remarkable pianist. And Jim's going to be down there. Johnny Mathis. Some folks think that maybe Johnny's still not out there, but let me tell you, Johnny's still an amazing quality entertainer that still has it. The Wheeling Symphony has a number of shows coming up. We have a number of shows that are in the making that we can't yet announce, but I think it's going to be exciting for some folks. And if we shift back to the arena, some great events coming up there. We've got our Monster Truck Show, which is always a phenomenal hit in February. Professional Bull Riders in March. Our Tough Man Boxing, which has been there for 35 years.
The Home and Garden Show in
The Home and Garden Show's coming up.
Yeah, just all kinds of stuff. Huh?
There's a wide range of events coming up there as well, Jeff. And of course, the Wheeling Nailers hockey. And I think if you check the schedule, the Nailers are usually home at least once a week or every other week. And you know, they're in a dogfight right now to make the playoffs. So it's a good time to come and see them.
You're talking about the community using the venues and looking at the Capitol Theater. Lindsley has their extravaganza every year, which is another.
What a phenomenal show that is. If folks haven't seen that, you might try to come and take a look. And that's the entire student body at Lindsley gets involved in their extravaganza, an annual show. And for the students that don't perform on stage, they do stage work, they do light work, they write scripts, and they act as ushers. It's just a tribute to the school, the program that they put on.
Well,
and then the local dance schools.
Sure, we could just go on.
So
on
the
and
community
on.
has been major supporters and proponents of both of our venues.
Well, the Capitol in West Banco is certainly jewels in the crown of our community.
We hope
really,
so. Jim.
Really means a lot, and thanks for your good work and leadership and your staff.
Well, thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege, and I got to tell you, you know, it's the kind of job where it's pretty fun to go to work every day, and that's the thing. Every day is different, and being able to meet the folks, and you know, and I'm not just talking about meet the folks that come in the back door, the artists, their athletes, but the people who come in the front door. Phenomenal.
Good. Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for visiting us on the hilltop.
It's always a pleasure.
Come back. I
Will
know
do.
you will. Okay. Well, thanks for watching today's edition of Your Town, and certainly thanks to Denny Magruder giving us an update on the activities at the Capitol and West Banco Arena. I'd like to thank our student crew and staff for producing and directing today's show. If you'd like to find out what's going on in our community, please check our website, WLTVonline.com. I'm Jeff Canarum. We'll see you next time on Your Town.
Grew up in a small town, and when the rain would fall down, I'd just stare out my window, dreaming of what could be, and if I'd end up happy, I would pray I could break away. I'll spread my wings and I'll learn how to fly. I'll do what it takes till I touch the sky. I gotta take a risk, take a chance, make a change, and break away. Wanna feel the warm breeze, sleep under a palm tree, feel the rush of the ocean. Get on board a fast train, travel on a jet plane, far away, and break away. Out of the darkness and into the sun, but I won't forget the place I come from. I gotta take a risk, take a chance, make a change, and break away.
The thing that I enjoy still is helping people and fighting fights that other people sometimes weren't able to fight themselves. And we can take on anybody because of the resources we have and the talent and the numbers. We can do cases that other firms can't do, and that sets us apart. It's not the size of the verdict that's so important, it's the change that we hope to bring about.
Bordas and Bordas, fighting for justice. West Liberty University College of Education is now offering a Bachelor of Arts degree in Community Education. Students in this accelerated program may choose from a number of tracks, including Community Arts, Museum Education, Outdoor Education, Sports, Recreation and Wellness, Faith-Based Leadership, and Disability Services. Take your passion for teaching from the classroom into the community with the new Bachelor of Arts degree in Community Education. West Liberty University, welcome to your future.
I was at another school, but I always felt lost in the shuffle. West Liberty University inspired me to push for my goals. I knew veterinary medicine was my life's calling, and the West Liberty University Health Sciences program helped make it my career. Now, as a vet, I'm making a difference in the lives of animals and people too. It's my life's work, and I found it here. Amanda Castle, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, West Liberty University. Welcome to your future.
You're watching WLU TV 14, West Liberty University TV, on Comcast Cable Channel 14 or online at WLTVonline.com.
Here's a look at your WLU TV community calendar. Visit our community calendar online at WLTVonline.com for more great events. West Liberty University Television, the Ohio Valley's only educational access television station.
Welcome to this week's edition of At Issue. I'm John McCabe. Joining me today is I call my nemesis in the news, Howard Monroe.
I like that.
Howard, how are you today?
Good, John. How are you?
Howard, of course, with WVOI, WKKX here in Wheeling. A lot of things going on this week, Howard. Obviously, the dominant story statewide, even still on the national level, is the water crisis down in Kanawha County and points around.
Everybody in the state has had their eyes focused on the Kanawha Valley down there. It was when we last got together. It was the first day of this event. And although, as we tape this, almost everybody has been told they can use the water again, and probably by the time people see this, everybody has, there's still tons of lingering questions about what happened and what needs to be done next.
Yeah, again, about what the estimates are is about 7,500 gallons of MCMH.
MCMH, yeah. I used to try and say the name, and I can't. I gave up on that.
Spilled into the Elk River about a mile and a half upstream from the intake port for West Virginia American Water's plant, water treatment plant
called Freedom Industries was where the accident occurred.
Yeah, so you know, in the last week, it's really been a lot of focus on how this happened. Started out with how it happened, how it was affecting folks, and has really kind of transitioned, starting maybe on the weekend and then leading into this week as we tape, into a look at exactly how it happened, how this company was regulated or not regulated is the better way to look at it maybe. Obviously a lot into the company's background, but really, you know, I think what we found is that there really are no good plans and no good regulations in place to oversee this, what's called a chemical storage facility.
Above ground chemical storage apparently doesn't have much oversight. And to the extent that it did have oversight, not a lot had been done about it. We had originally heard that it had been 1991 since the place had even been inspected. We have more recently heard that it may have been,
I think, 2002.
2002, and 5 times since then. I think the most recent was in 2010. Although, according to the reports today, the DEP had, the inspector who had gone to this place, Freedom Industries, in 2010, had detected an odor of licorice.
Yeah, smelled some licorice, which was the telltale for this chemical.
But didn't do anything about it. Again, I think what the DEP is saying, it didn't rise to the level of a safety violation. I think one thing we're realizing here is how serious a problem these chemicals can create. And I don't know that we've ever taken them quite as seriously as we should.
Well, sure, and as you mentioned, you know, right now the state DEP does not monitor or is not tasked with monitoring above ground liquid chemical storage facilities. The EPA, which is charged with protecting the nation's waterways, does not regulate these type of industries. The U.S. Chemical Safety Board does not come in until a spill happens. So they're really not involved until now, after an incident has taken place.
Now the legislature is talking about some some legislation to put more protection in for that.
Right, yeah, Senator John Unger wasted really no time once the legislature got back into session in introducing a waterways protection bill, which may well give the DEP much more authority in regulating these type of facilities. That bill, I would imagine, will make pretty quick sailing through the legislature this year before it won't be one of these last-minute ones. But you know,
it is interesting, by the way, just as a quick comment on that, how quickly things can get done in the legislature when they want to. The House introduced a bill to provide small loans and grants to businesses that needed help to get through this period, and they got it through like in one day, and then went on to the Senate. It usually takes weeks to get this kind of stuff done.
Sure. So, you know, really, you know, Charleston, things seem to be coming under control even, you know, as we tape now. There are some areas that were told to come back, or they were going to be back on, have since been told not to use the water again. But that seems
there's still
to be
a lot of confusion, though.
Still a lot of confusion.
The CDC, I mean, even though it's called safe to use, the CDC has told pregnant women not to use it.
Yeah, well, that's a very good point.
The several scientists involved in this are saying that we really don't exactly know what the impact of all this is going to be.
Well, and I think the biggest problem they've had is that this chemical, really nobody knew that much about it. I think what I had read in the last few days, there are only 2 animal testing.
Yes, but no testing on humans at all.
No human testing at all. And so it's really kind of an unknown in terms of long-term effects.
Right. And I've seen, and these are anecdotal, so you be careful, but I've seen pictures on Facebook and elsewhere of folks who have used the water since they were told to, with red rashes on their skin. And again, I'm not saying that's the cause. I'm just saying that these things are there. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Would you be drinking the water and taking a bath right now?
Would I?
Yeah.
Maybe me, yes. My kids, by no means.
I think it's, I would, I'm going to tell you right now, if I was in Charleston, in that area right now, I'd be very, very careful. I would, I don't know that I would be jumping in the shower. I got to be honest with you.
You know, and the focus now really for at least for us, I mean, obviously this story will continue to have huge significance statewide and even nationwide. Senator Barbara Boxer, already has come out and she's head of the Senate Environment Committee in essence, and has said that they need some, you know, at least 2 full U.S. Senate hearings on this issue and on the nation's waterways and protecting them. But you know, for us, the issue now really kind of transitions into Green Hunter water and other plants, not only just Green Hunter water, but you know, other plants that may be on the river that are storage facilities or that type of thing that nobody knows what they have.
I mean, Green Hunter, the basic details are very much the same. Now, let's begin with Green Hunter being a more recent plan. I mean, they're
not
rebuilding.
in operation yet by any means.
And it's not old stuff. They're putting new stuff in. But frack water material, that's potentially dangerous chemicals, right upstream from water intake.
Even closer than Freedom Industries.
So the circumstances very, very similar, and I know a lot of folks are now saying, ooh, maybe we should have paid closer attention to this.
Well, yeah, and you know, and it's unfortunate that it takes this type of a situation for people to finally realize they should have been a little more concerned. I mean, I think we've been, you know, very fair through our reporting and trying to give both sides, and you know, the industry side is one thing, as you've dealt with on the Planning Commission. You know, they've done everything as they needed to do to get their site plan review, to get you know, and to get ready to operate. But now comes the real world issues of what happens, what if somewhere down the line. You know, in a story that we have coming out on I guess Sunday the 19th, you know, focuses just on that fact that Green Hunter and Freedom Industries are just very similar. You know, we have the DEP on the record saying, you know, from several months back, you know, unless they drill or they discharge, we have nothing to do with that.
Not our job,
And so, you know, now this could
EPA
change.
has said it's not their job.
The EPA has said that. The U.S. Federal Regulatory Nuclear Commission, you know, just about every alphabet soup agency you can find has nothing to do with this, other than the Coast Guard and the fracking issue and the transporting on the barges. But so there's just real concern right now over where Green Hunter's at. That concern was attempted to be addressed, at least start the process with the health department, the Ohio County Health Department and Ohio County EMA, just the day here before we taped. That meeting was canceled at Green Hunter's request until a future date. Their reasoning was an illness. But I think that, you know, I know Howard Gamble has said that they want to get this rescheduled. They need to get it rescheduled. This is something that, you know, maybe needs to start on a small basis like this, but maybe even get to the point where you hold some public information sessions to get the word out about what they're doing,
and
what they're doing differently.
And what happens if there is a problem?
Right, what is the containment plan?
I know that Green Hunter, when they presented their site plan, had told us that the containment, and provided plans to show
Sure.
this, that the containment area was, I believe I have this right, capable of containing 150% of a catastrophic failure. In other words, if all of their tanks fail and 100% spilled out, the containment area is able to take 150%. Right. So it is able to do that. But again, you know, John, one of the things I think we all maybe are learning from this is to be better prepared, period. And I'm not just talking about the government and hazardous waste people. You know, we all see and hear the public service announcements that tell us to have an emergency plan in our house. And how many of us really do that?
Right.
Everybody knows there ought to be an emergency plan in place for something like this spill in Charleston or a potential problem here. Everybody knows that. Nobody disagrees with it, or few people would disagree with it. But taking the time to do it, and I think that's what in Charleston, the CSB, Chemical Safety Board, had a couple of years ago recommended that the Kanawha Valley get together and put together a plan for
This was after the explosion at the Bayer crop sciences plant.
Exactly. And yet they didn't do it. And one of the reasons, according to some reports I read, several people on the record, like Ken Carper, the Kanawha County Commissioner, said it was just going to be too hard.
Right.
Well, sometimes you got to do what's hard.
Well, the hard thing is never the easy thing, but it's often the right thing, which is always good to remember. And, you know, when you look at Green Hunter, we did look through their site plan for our story. And, you know, along with their underground containment area, they have a 2-foot-high dike that they will build around the entire site to try to contain any spill and any runoff. But as we learned with Freedom Industries, they had a containment area, excuse me, they had a containment plan in place, and frankly, their containment wall had holes in it, which is what allowed this to, you know, get through the holes, leach into the soil, and get into the Elk River.
And what's scary in Freedom Industries is they had a second storage site that also had deteriorating containment walls and so on. So again, a lot of fault here, a lot of problems here. The real question is, what do we learn from it, and how do we move forward?
Well, Howard, we're not far off from our end of our first segment, but let's touch to finish this round off on totally different topic, but we had an execution take place in Ohio that did not go very well by all reports.
I tell you, it reminded me of the movie The Green Mile, where the execution went bad. Dennis McGuire, accused of a 1989 rape and fatal stabbing of a pregnant woman, pregnant newlywed, if I remember correctly. And he was executed using a new mixture of chemicals in Ohio, two chemical cocktail. Took almost half an hour, between 22, 25 minutes, something like that, for him to die. The story, which I read in the newspaper, is just makes me shudder, gasping and making noises, and just a horrific thing. Personal opinion, I'm not in favor of the death penalty, but I know it's the law of the land. And if it is the law of the land, we certainly at least should make it as uncruel and unusual as possible.
Right.
And the stories certainly sound like this was a pretty cruel and unusual death.
Well, and you know, Ohio, as we speak now, has 5 more executions planned for 2014. The soonest one is roughly a month from now, February 19th. So they've got a month to either figure that out or delay it until they can figure out either the right concentration of this cocktail or another drug or whatever they're going to do. It is time for our break, though.
I just wanted to note, it's one of those things, someone from the prison, though, made the point right before the execution. It's going, he said, and it's going to be a humane and dignified execution. Now, just speaking for myself, I'm not sure all of those 3 words can ever go together.
Sure.
But it was going to be humane and dignified, and it was clearly, and it may have been an execution, but it was neither humane nor dignified.
Okay, well, it's time for a break, and we've got a few drilling issues to talk about when we come back, Howard.
And a lot of money coming into the area from drilling, too.
Sure is. We'll hit on those and a few other topics when we return.
I
Make a difference. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Everybody needs a helping hand. Take a look at your fellow man and tell me what can I do today.
Hey, let me get that for you.
Everybody needs a helping out. If that ain't what it's all about, tell me what.
Thank you, young man.
What can I
No problem.
What can I do today?
Courtesy. Pass it on.
I got it.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
West Liberty University College of Education is now offering a Bachelor of Arts degree in Community Education. Students in this accelerated program may choose from a number of tracks, including Community Arts, Museum Education, Outdoor Education, Sports, Recreation and Wellness, Faith-Based Leadership, and Disability Services. Take your passion for teaching from the classroom into the community with the new Bachelor of Arts degree in Community Education. West Liberty University, welcome to your future.
The internationally accredited Gary E. West College of Business at West Liberty University prepares you for careers that match your dreams. The West College of Business, just an hour from Pittsburgh in northern West Virginia. We're focused on your future.
Hi, and welcome back to That Issue. Howard, one of the area's top recreation spots, Piedmont Lake in Ohio, big fur popping up over there over some potential drilling under about 6,600 acres, including underneath the lake.
This is one of those stories where you begin to see how the clash that can occur. It's a huge amount of money, what, $40 million?
Almost
that's
50.
That's
Yeah,
just
the upfront lease.
Upfront lease money, not even talking about what could come as time goes by, the royalties. And so looking at that, it's a lot of money that the government could do or the Piedmont Lake folks could do with that. But to what extent, if any, does it impact the beauty of the lake, the use of the lake as a recreational facility? And a lot of folks were upset at a public hearing about that this week.
Well, and you know, in a week or a couple week period where the focus has been so much on the environment and how much that, you know, we can't take it for granted. You know, who would ever think that we would come to a time when, you know, drinking water, which is one of, you know, at least in my, you know, 40 plus years on this earth has been the, you know, you want it, you turn on the tap. You know, here we have yet another potential issue where folks are very concerned over, you know, not only, you know, just as much as anything, ruining the beauty of that area of Belmont and parts of Harrison County. So there's going to be, I think, a lot more coming out on this story. You know, and to be fair, folks will argue, and I will agree with them. You know, fracking and drilling has taken place underneath the Vogelby Park. If you don't notice it,
yeah. I don't know. I don't think the proposals are to drill on the property. The proposal was to drill under the property using the horizontal fracking and to suck the gas out that way. And you're right, John. Although originally the plan was to drill in Oglebay, that met opposition. They changed it, and they're you know, using the horizontal fracking. So to be fair, that is. But as a couple of folks say, and Pat Jacobson, who frequently is at some of these meetings, said to say this is not going to hurt the water quality is absurd. Probably that statement resonates a lot stronger today than it would have had 3 weeks ago.
Oh, undoubtedly.
But it's all about. I shouldn't say it's all about, but a huge part of it has to do with the money, John.
Sure, sure.
And
$50 million is a hard amount of money to turn down for a private watershed district, which is what the Muskingum district is.
And you guys had looked at some of the amount of money coming in into the
Yeah,
area.
it's just unbelievable. 2013, let's put it into some perspective here. In 2012, where we saw some drilling activity, the Greater Wheeling metropolitan statistical area had, that's Ohio, Belmont, and Marshall counties, saw about, I think it was right around $60 million in residential and non-residential construction. That's homes, those are new businesses, those are any plants.
Right.
So that was 2012. 2013 saw 1.72 billion. That's with a B,
more than
billion.
Well, no, a lot more than
you're talking about
I'm sorry, no, that's, I mean, that's just.
That's about 30 times.
Right, exactly.
30 times what they saw the previous year. And that, you know, primarily, but you do have to think we had, you know, Blue Racer and, you know, some of these processing plants out in Majorsville and come online. And we saw so much more commercial activity. And that's what it primarily all was. I think housing, residential was about double from 5 to 10 million, but from 54 million to 1.62 billion is a huge difference.
But repeating myself from before, John, this is that weighing of options we have here. And this week presents it perfectly. Water quality issues, safety issues, concern issues over that's very fair and valid, and we're seeing it in Charleston right now. And yet, $1.72 billion, the economic value, that's a tough thing to weigh.
And even just from the perspective of enjoying the area in which we live, I love to drive back roads. If I'm in Clarksburg, I would much rather come home on 250, in the twists and turns and enjoy it than to come 79 and 70. But here a couple months back, I was in Clarksburg and started driving home on 250, and this was on a Sunday.
How was that, John?
And after about 15 minutes, I just got right back onto 79 because the number of huge trucks and the potholes and the just the damage to the roads was so bad that I wasn't going to put myself through it, being miserable for 2 hours on 250 coming back from Clarksburg. So again, as you said, it is very hard to balance the economic and the environmental / just the beauty of our state.
Well, you mentioned Blue Racer in your conversation there. The Blue Racer plant down to the south of us has been out of action for a while because
September 21st.
of some problems. But they did test their siren.
They do have a new siren. We were down this past week when they sounded it for the first time, and it is there to basically to warn the residents of Kent, West Virginia, and some other small areas there. When there's an explosion, if you remember, when we had the explosion in September, the folks there were basically awoken with the, as they described it, sky on fire. It looked like something had dropped from the sky, and here it was the Blue Racer plant had a major explosion. And again, one that has had it shut down for 4 months now. That's a long time. That's a lot of money out of Dominion's pocket, a lot of money out of Cayman Energy's pocket. 4 months of downtime is, that's got to be a huge financial burden on them. But so they've done that. The residents, some are happy. Some, we talked to a couple that owns a diner down there and said, it's nice having all these people here, but sometimes we wish they'd just leave, just leave us be.
Yeah,
but what are you going to do?
Sell a couple burgers, we were okay.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about some big stories, the water story, executions, and the shale business. Let's come to some of our more local issues. Yeah. One case that I think maybe just last week we were sort of speculating about, wondering when there'd be some movement in the case of the Wheeling Jesuit University student who died after an altercation on the street, and we now have a couple of charges filed.
Yeah, Kevin Faganiak was the Wheeling Jesuit student, died back in, I think, the end of August, I believe it was, and on Monday of this week as we tape, the Ohio County Grand Jury indicted Craig Tyler Peacock. He's from Florida. On murder charges, and the other gentleman who was there, Jarrett Chandler from Louisiana, I believe, misdemeanor counts for him. At some point soon, they'll have docket day sometime soon, and Mr. Peacock will have to appear. I believe he's still lodged in the down in the Northern Regional Jail. Excuse me, and will have to appear for docket day and have a trial date set. So, for whatever evidence they have seems to be more than what we talked about in the past with like a Travis Hocutt, where it was just, got hit and fell down. There's, if they're pushing a murder charge, they obviously feel that.
John, is it first degree or second degree murder?
I don't know. It just said murder. Yeah. So I would assume second degree is probably the charge. But it's obvious they have more than just he punched him and he fell down and hit his head.
Which, and of course,
it's kind of been the indication all along.
And some of that came directly from these folks. I mean, they did answer some questions from the police.
He claimed he stomped maybe with his foot or kicked
now, whether
during
that
an
gets
interview.
into court or not,
right,
you never know. But that is at least on the record. But I'm like you. I'm wondering what other evidence there may now be to do that. So that was one of the big stories of the year last year. Really,
it really was.
It will continue to be a big story this year. Downtown Wheeling, a couple of in the city of Wheeling, a couple of just quick notes to make.
Yeah, Market Plaza is going to get a facelift while the Gateway Park gets no facelift. So what's that tell you? Don't ask me, but it tells you that nothing changes. But for the plaza, the city's going to do a water project first. They want to replace a water line and upgrade that, so when they do the other, they don't have to come back in and fix it later. But I think they've allocated about $500,000 in TIF money to upgrade Market Plaza, which most likely means the project will come in about 1.2 million. So,
John, there's a
I mean,
there's
I'm in
a
a mood
cynic
today,
living
buddy.
inside you, John.
Well,
There's a cynic living
history,
inside you. I like the
keeps my
idea of
point.
upgrading the Market
I do
Plaza, and my reason has always been that it is. We always talk about the first thing people see when they come into town, and gateways are critical.
It's definitely the last thing. A
But
lot of
this
people
is
see as
the
they leave
last
town.
thing
That's
a lot
right.
of people see as they drive out of town, drive up Market Street, head to the tunnel, and go wherever they're going to go. And it is a cold, desolate-looking place now.
It's like a stone jungle there. You know, it's just like a stone. I mean, it hasn't changed in the near 20 years I've lived here, other than it was nicer 20 years
I would
ago
say
than
I
it is
like
now.
you remember when it was
Yeah.
and when there were some stores down there, and Stone and Thomas
you had a
was
little
there,
visitors bureau booth there,
and the fountains
Fountain
were actually,
worked.
you know,
Yeah.
but so I'm glad to see him doing it. I think they're going to do some. Aren't they going to do some curb work and extend some parking and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
too, so.
they've got a nice plan for it, and again, this has been a 4-year in process project, so hopefully it'll be done right and done well.
Now, as that project goes up, the Gene
the
Long
Gene
Community
Long,
Center
yeah.
goes down.
Yeah, that's one of the, I don't know if I'll call it historic, but it's definitely one of the most well-known buildings on Wheeling Island. If you don't know which one it is, it's the one that has the flood gauge on the side that shows, you know, kind of charts all the major floods in
Which I
Wheeling.
think is why it's considered historic,
Yeah,
is it does track the history of the city.
And the building has just been has fallen into serious disrepair and is coming down. There are some efforts being made to, you know, at least preserve some of the bricks and maybe reuse them at some point. But you know, as we look around and we see an aging infrastructure, buildings have to come down. It's plain
Yeah,
and simple.
we talked about this before. You can't save everything.
Right.
Before we wrap things up, just because this is going to be a very hot political
Mhm.
year, big races on the state level, we know, but this is going to be a hot political year in the area, and a
Yeah.
few slowly but surely now announcements are coming out.
Yeah, we've had you know, the obvious big ones for the U.S. Senate between Capito and Tennant, and you know, McKinley and Gaynor. Everyone expects for the House. Locally, you know, Dave Palmer, firefighter, has filed. Ryan Fern's filed for the state Senate.
Ryan
as
Fern's
a Republican,
vacating
obviously.
his House seat.
Right.
He'll be running for the state Senate against
Rocky
Rocky Fitzsimmons.
Fitzsimmons.
Rocky has filed.
Right.
We have Palmer running against, at the moment, nobody, although
Right.
there are a couple I know
Yeah,
that are gonna-
Santorini has said he'll get in.
Dolph Santorini on the Republican side.
Right.
Ohio County School Board's going to have an interesting race. A couple of interesting characters are in there. Sam Andy has said he's going to run
Mhm.
again, and
I think we have Holly Smith running for the House as well. That's Scott Smith's wife.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she'd actually announced
Yeah,
it.
she had filed,
I
at
know
least.
that she had,
Yeah, she had
planned to.
filed.
And we had Tim Birch.
Yeah, Tim Birch
City's
for school
traffic
board,
engineer
so
is going to run for school
interesting.
board. So a lot of interesting things, and we'll
Yeah.
follow a lot of this stuff either here
Howard,
on this
before
show
we
or
do
elsewhere.
go, you know, we need to say congratulations to Frank Longwell. He's taken the
Ben
path
was
to losing
police chief
to
and
getting
all-around
healthy.
head honcho.
Yeah, he's we had a story in the paper last weekend that he's dropped about 60+ pounds and plans this year to drop another 40 to 50. And good for you, Mr. Longwell, and good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the chief, he's a fun guy.
Yes, he is.
He's a fun guy. All right.
Well, that wraps
that's
us
it.
up for today, and we thank you for watching. If you want to send us an email and tell us how bad we are, you can send that to @issue@westliberty.edu.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It'd be
and-
nice if you told us how good we are, but
Yes.
you can tell us how bad we are too. And you can tell us how much you miss Calabash, but the good news is he'll probably be back next time.
Thanks, and we'll see you later.
The thing that I enjoy still is helping people and fighting fights that other people sometimes weren't able to fight themselves. And we can take on anybody because of the resources we have and the talent and the numbers. We can do cases that other firms can't do, and that sets us apart. It's not the size of the verdict that's so important, it's the change that we hope to bring about.
Bordas and Bordas, fighting for justice.
Sharing. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
When you can't do it all, do what you can. Compassion for others. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Here's a look at your WLUTV community calendar. Visit our community calendar online at WLTVonline.com for more great events. West Liberty University Television, the Ohio Valley's only educational access television station.
Hi, I'm Pete Holloway. I'm a Senior Vice President and a Financial Advisor with Hazlett, Watson & Wheeling, and a Certified Financial Planner. And as always, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to On Money. Today we're going to be talking about trusts. A lot of people have heard about them, and they're not quite sure what they are. And if you have a trust, it might be good for you to listen to this just to make sure the trust that you have is appropriate for you. My guest today is Erin Zavislak. She's a Senior Trust Officer at Security National Trust Company's headquarters in Wheeling. Security is a national chartered independent trust company. The majority of Erin's clients are citizens of West Virginia and Ohio. She's a native of Pennsylvania and a graduate of King's College in Wilkes-Barre. She obtained her law degree from St. Thomas University in Miami Gardens, Florida. Prior to beginning her career in trust administration, she practiced law as an estate planning attorney in Florida, and she maintains her Florida and North Carolina law licenses. I want to welcome you and thank you for coming out here and helping us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, Pete.
So what is a trust?
Well, Pete, a trust is a legally recognized relationship whereby one individual, we will call that person the trustor, provides property in this relationship to another individual, which we can refer to as a trustee. And the reason for doing this is so that the property will be maintained for the benefit of one or more people, or sometimes a charity.
Okay. Now, when you say property, normally we would just think money. Can you put your house or your car or
You can put your home. One of the ways that people often fund a trust is during their lifetime. And executing a deed from yourself as a sole owner of your house, and instead titling that deed, granting the property to the trust, will do the trick. That is the actual funding of the trust with the real property.
Okay. Now we're going to be getting into some definitions in a while, but let's look at one right now, because I just put something into a trust, or I'd say 2 years ago. Now I don't want it in the trust. Can I take it back out, or is it stuck in there? Or what rights do I have as the person who put the money in there?
It all depends, and that's a great question. There is a difference between a revocable